Hello and welcome to the special edition Tyler1 jungle guide. And no, this isn't actually a meme video, although we will make some 6-foot alpha jokes I'm sure, but given that Tyler1 is trying to prove that jungle is the most OP role and perhaps the easiest role in order to climb to challenger with, he is attempting to accomplish this himself. And I just couldn't resist the teachable moment of breaking down what he does well and what he doesn't so that you can learn and improve while also watching Tyler1 learn and improve. And with that pretty much enough of an intro, if you enjoy this special edition and want more videos like this, please do like and subscribe and perhaps comment below your wish list. And just before we get into the meat and gravy and Draven axes of the video, I need to point out that I've been watching his stream on and off, and the points I'm trying to make in this video was something that even 2 days ago were quite common in his gameplay. Watching him tonight even, there's been so much improvement from his jungling from the first day until now. So the one thing you can learn from him, no matter what else you think about his stream or his content or whatever, is that his desire to win and his persona does not fall prey to being stubborn. When he makes mistakes, he learns from it and he improves, and he does this every single game. And on that note, I do have one of his best games that we can go over and analyze in terms of pros and cons, as well as some clips from tonight's videos that show you his improvement. Tyler is very good at identifying how to win a game, but his builds are straight beta. There's no alpha about it. When you go Cinder Hulk and Knight's Vow and Zeke's on Lee Sin, sure it works when your lanes are carrying you and you have a very fed Draven and you can be that component that helps win the game, but you weren't the alpha force that carried it. You're proving that jungle is just a support position at the whims of the lane. You really shouldn't be putting yourself in that position that you have to buy those items to be useful, because you should be having an early game that makes you the win condition. Isn't that what a 1v9 OP role would do? Become the win condition, not succumb to it? That being said, in certain instances, it is good to understand that you are not the win condition, and that's how you win losing games. That's how you come out on top when you probably shouldn't. And this fight around the Dragon Pit shows just that. His itemization, his reaction to the Volibear flank, his containment of the Draven with his items, the follow-up triple kill, this gives them the Baron and gives them the game, and it was a game that he was pretty much absolutely useless. Now if Tyler knows this, he knows that his laners and team won't always have an alpha carry that he can support, and that if he wants to be the win condition and he wants to be the challenger player that he is, in order to carry all the way up until that elo, we need to fix a few things. Tyler's clear mechanics and efficiency outside of Karthus leave me feeling a little bit uneasy because it's really like watching a plat jungler at work. No offense viewers, but this is the truth. He is a challenger player, so he has picked up a lot of things by watching his junglers int in his games. Let's watch this Elise first clear. To be honest, this was last night and it's very different to the one he did tonight, and we will compare them to show the growth. He doesn't let the Spiderlings tank the buff to preserve his health as much as possible. He doesn't do really on the Gromp, nor the red. Though moving between camps in spider form with the added movement speed is very good, reduces travel time, the concept of time efficiency is getting through to him, but at the same time you must preserve your health as much as possible while doing that. The concept of the clear is good. Buff, Gromp, buff in any order, looking for a level 3 gank. Unfortunately, he's always starting on the bottom side. Sometimes it's good to start in the red and look for the bottom lane gank, and that's why it's good to know what your early game plan is. What lanes are gankable? What lanes would you like to camp? What lets you set up the team's win condition better than other clears? And as I just mentioned, he's very good at identifying win conditions. He just needs to make sure he's at the core of that. So the early game plan with your roots, what lanes you want to gank, when you want to do the dragon, once any jungler starts programming that in their mind, they're going to have a much better time in terms of taking control of the game, not reacting to what the enemy jungler is doing. And quite often Tyler finds himself behind the enemy jungler who's doing ganks before he's able to do so. And that all comes together very nicely. Let's use Echo for an example here. You can very quickly go from red, Raptors, Wolves blue, look to gank. If there's nothing you can do Gromp and Scuttle, then you can gank, maybe you can counter jungle, but you can do all of this with Talisman. It's an AoE clear, so you get the regeneration, he has AoE abilities, it's very good. If you're going to do the single target clear, then you want Machete instead of Talisman, do the 3 camps and then gank. But honestly, on this champion, it's just inefficient. This is all champion and game plan specific, it's matchup understanding, and that's where jungling can become quite intricate. It also helps when you understand this because you can track the enemy jungler, count CS, look to see where they are, and you can set up counter jungling and counter ganks, which is the one area where Tyler could really improve. And when a jungler clears poorly, you waste time and health and mana. These are the most vital aspects to your existence. If you turn up to a gank already lower HP than you need to be, and the gank fails, you give up so much ground in terms of counter jungling or future 1v1s. At the same time, you probably shouldn't try to be alpha or 1v1 either. I think you're coming to the realization, Tyler, that laners don't see what's going on. They're not able to rotate immediately because they are only focused on their little game. These are not super aware players. So yes, we all know that lane states are fundamental to jungling. You must pay attention to them when you want crab, when you want a dragon, when you want a counter jungle, when you want a 1v1. You are truly at the mercy of their reactions, and that's kind of a scary thought, to be honest with you. When you gank, when you invade, you must know where the enemy laners are and understand what their vision might be. Watch their movement so you can back up before the J4 takes you out. Why are you counter jungling there if you're not timing the back timers? Who had priority in the mid lane? If you have poor early clears, you don't get a kill and get chunked from a gank on the top lane. Even if you escape like against this Evelynn, why are you walking into the river? You know that Evelynn's gonna be that top side. If you had tracked her clear from the red side to the blue side, you'd know that she'd be right there. The enemy mid also has prior overview of Vladimir, so if you telegraph where you're going next, you simply have to leave. Don't give her your sewer double buffs, please. And that was all because the first clear was inefficient, the gank was greedy, you didn't get anything out of it, and you telegraphed your next moves while not tracking the enemy jungler. These are things that make jungling complicated, because the right play sometimes just cannot be made purely because of your lane states. All of this stems from your decisions as a jungler in terms of efficiency, high IQ pathing, not waffling, and maintaining high HP through these mechanics. If you walk over vision simply looking for farm and get collapsed because your team can't help you or don't have the same vision, welcome to the jungle reality of being perma-invaded and behind. And this is why we had catch-up XP, though an alpha jungler who, say, played Rengar wouldn't exactly need it. But briefly, before we get into our gameplay, on the note of time efficiency, there needs to be a purpose to all your actions, and you need to know where you're going next and why, all while camp sequencing and factoring in farm as well. Look at this sequence on Elise. Moved around the map, got one camp, no clear purpose other than to look for ganks. The one thing Tyler does do very well is have good gank pathing, most of the time. Big loops, scans, a little bit of patience, decent mechanics. Obviously he's learning some new champions so they're not always going to be super fluid, but often they can be greedy. This Elise gank, which he just did a short while ago, very nicely done. He waited and baited the flash, got level 3, then used his cocoon afterwards. That was excellent, and then fell down to the scuttle. But sometimes instead of alpha ganks that have a bit of nuance to them, they're just face smash brute force kick W. The thing is, and the biggest blight on his entire jungle record is that his farming numbers are absolutely abysmal. And that reeks of a low elo jungle attitude. Gank, 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 don't camp sequence properly, and if those ganks don't go well and your laners do fall behind, you're pretty much screwed into buying Knight's Vow and Elise. Oh, wait a second. You're not in the LCS, Tyler, you are allowed to farm a little bit. And in fact, it's encouraged to highly optimize your farm and weave it in with your ganks and objective focus. Even playing a weak mental jungle such as Karthus shouldn't really have a CS per minute lower than 7. Now look at the map of an actual jungle. Look at that, you got 2 camps in each quadrant, you can farm each, move into the ganks as well in between, you've got a dragon, you've got the herald. Now this is the map from Tyler1. There seems to be only 1 camp per quadrant, there's no herald. He seemingly has forgotten that exists in most of his games, except for the ones tonight. I will point that out, he is improving, recognizing the herald's existence, but his dragon control, that is supreme. Your experience really shapes your reality, and as a bot laner being summoned every game to help with dragons, this surely has influenced Mr. 1's jungling strategy, because he's securing as many of those as possible. He doesn't always have smite or hit smite, but he is trying to focus on the Dragon Soul win condition. This is good. But ultimately, his gank heavy style really is reminiscent of high elo junglers. The problem is when you're playing in this mid to low MMRs, you need to have good farming because you want to scale as well. You do not want to be left behind at all because these people are not going to know how to close. When they see something weird like Sonotop, they're not going to know how to handle it. And if you have 4 CS per minute and you end up being a level beneath the enemy jungler and you're playing something like a Rex and Elise, you're not going to be able to 1v9 alpha carry the game. So in order to showcase what he does really well as where he can improve on those certain aspects and where you, the viewer, can also improve your jungling, we have this highlighted Jack's gameplay example. This is much more a jungler that you can use to do what I'm suggesting. So now he's playing like a plat jungler, but he's learning like a high elo jungler. However, he's against a Warwick who has a very similar game style. So, red buff, blue buff, Grump, level 3 gank on the top lane. Warwick did a very similar thing, except he did the whole blue side, red buff into a level 3 gank in the mid lane. Both junglers get opposite side crabs, but not from each other, so that's good. Now following this, he knows the Warwick will be on the bottom side, so he goes to counter jungle the Raptors. The thing is, the Warwick has no camps on the bottom side, and if you were timing it, knowing he went from blue first, then to Grump, you're not around 4 minutes that Grump's going to respawn. Therefore, it isn't up yet, so he's most likely going to head to the top side again. When you jungle track like that, you know you can just smite the big raptor and leave. He does that, and even if it's by accident, when he wants to fight here, you have to pay attention to laner 1v1s. Who's pushing, who's pulling, and who can rotate first. And the fight that we have here is very weird. I don't know how to describe it to you or narrate it to you. I'm kind of frowning a little bit. I think I might need therapy because basically it just looks like some kind of creepy dude on the bus that kind of slides next to you and then you end up with 2 kills. But nonetheless, the creepy dude comes out on top and now he goes back to base. Firstly, time efficiency. When you're buying and you want to go back out to the map, wait at the edge of your base please, and the relevant direction that you want to head. Now in this case he wants to go to the top side, so as a jungler my instincts already are okay, he's gonna do Gromp, Wolves, perhaps down to Raptors, Krugs, and then the Dragon. Or if the Warwick shows on the top side, you can do Gromp, Wolves, straight into the Dragon yourself. No, instead he goes to Wolves. And then he proceeds to head to Gromp, so now basically you're saying you're camp sequencing from bottom to top. Jax is a very good farming jungler, the video I released last week. He can be very strong at farming quickly. Unfortunately, he's chosen to go Cinderhulk. I do not agree with this. I think you should go Blood Razor into Trinity Force. If you need to go tanky after that, you can. Otherwise, you can go Sterix, Gage, and GA. Carry the game, be alpha, be 1v9. You have a lead. There's literally no need to put yourself in a position with a farming jungler that you end up being a hard tank. You have the lead now. You can dominate him with that Blood Razor item. But as you can see on the map, as I said that, the camp sequencing from Gromp to Wolves to Raptors to Krugs into Dragon, or vice versa, is how you want to pan it out if you're going to be a farming jungler focused around objectives. This is great if you want to scale and split push very nicely, which you kind of want to do with Jax. Nonetheless, the Warwick ganked on the top lane. He really shouldn't have been ganking on the top lane. It's a weird pathing. He should have gone from Gromp to Wolves, and he could have easily taken the Drake while Jax was on the top side. Both junglers don't go where they should. Jax intimidates the Warwick with his intense level 4 body language, and he gets the Scuttle Crab. But again, between that, there was a lot of waffling, a lot of indecision about where he should path next. Indicative of an inexperienced jungler, and that's fine because he's an AD carry, he will get better, and in games I've watched tonight, and I'm sure the ones you will watch tomorrow, this will only improve with time and his decisiveness will only improve with time. Now the problem here is the pathing across the mid lane is fine, but your bot lane is back in base. You know Warwick has cleared the top side, ganked on the top side, will be doing his second blue buff. So when you show in the mid lane and show going back into your jungle, they know you're going to be doing the red buff, and they know they have a free 3v1 on the Dragon. You're giving up that objective. And once you've done the red, going straight to Raptors is fine, but Jax can really farm super quickly once you get a few points in your abilities, once you get Blood Razor, in this case Cinderhulk. So go from red, do Krugs, do Raptors, into Wolves, into Gromp, do your blue buff. Do a full sequence clear, give yourself that experience advantage, but at the same time what Tyler does very well is reactive ganks. When he sees someone that's in trouble, he will leave his camps and go to the gank. When you see Warwick go after the Dragon and gank on the bottom lane, leave your camps, finish the blue, and go take his red. That's very nice, that's good counter jungling. Don't wait around to finish your Wolves and Gromp while you could have taken something of his, because your Gromp and Wolves will always be there afterwards. Unless your mid laner takes them. Now on that note, he does some very good things after going back to base here. He rotates for that reactive gank, he gets a KS, but you know, he wants to carry. And then Tyler does what most junglers just aren't doing at the moment, and they don't do in this MMR. He goes into the enemy jungle, steals the Gromp right in his face, rotates around, and engages in a fight to beat him. You have laner support. Even if you don't, play a jungler that allows you to play like this. Suppress the enemy jungler and prevent him from ganking your lanes because, you know, the laner's eyes don't work. Their minimaps are not active. They're going to die to the ganks, even if you ping it out, even if you type it out. And I think he literally showed that on stream right now. Now, if there's the biggest problem in Tyler's gameplay as well as a lot of your own gameplay, it's the following. I'm going to freeze the frame, I'm going to fast forward almost 2 minutes. What's changed? Same amount of kills, exact same spot, and only 16 more CS. Nothing else has happened. That is a lot of dead time at a crucial moment as you head towards the mid game. So let's see what he actually did. So he goes back to base and he goes directly to the Wolves again for some strange reason. Then he does his Gromp. You can see conversely Warwick is going from Krugs to Raptors into Wolves into Gromp. He's doing a top to bottom sequence because he wants to fall down to the Dragon that's spawning. That's maximizing experience while playing around an objective timer. Tyler on the other hand is just punishing his teamer for being teamer. I mean I hit him too, but I'm gonna call this a tilt tax because there's no other reason to slow push back into Nasus. And now you see the Warwick is in the mid lane holding the tower. Do the Herald, Tyler. Come on, do the Herald. Please. The Herald, Tyler. Do the... You can see frustration? I'm frustrated. That's a free, absolutely free Herald that you can use on the plates before 14 minutes. Warwick was shown mid lane. Take it, it's an objective, it's yours. But no, he's sitting in a bush patiently waiting. And there's a difference between jungle tracking and having an educated trap set and simply just waiting because he eventually will turn up. One is good jungling, one is platinum jungling. And if you're gonna wait for this and you know the dragon's there, take the scuttle. Why are you waiting? Take the scuttle in the meantime, set a ward, and start the dragon. It's the second dragon, it's very easy to take. Nope, now it's warded and now you have to fight. Yes, they pick up kills. Yes, they win out. And yes, they get the dragon. But the point is they could have had that exact same fight and in between gotten all his camps, taken the dragon, taken the scuttle, and taken the herald. And that's what good pathing and no waffling will do for a good jungler. And that's what I hope Tyler will improve on as he gets through his growth phases. Because right there in the first 14 to 15 minutes is what determines if the better jungler wins and what advantages you can get to help carry in the late game when your team isn't in a position to do so. And honestly, if you want to be that raw spud jungler, you have to build accordingly. You cannot build Cinderhulk on Jax. Get the Devourer, fast from all the camps, get all the objectives, take all the towers, beat the guy 1v1 by walking into his jungle, just like Tyler did. That's fantastic. Do it every game, become decisive. And you'll see some clips now from games that are just 24 hours after I collected the original footage. There's significantly better movement from his perspective. He's getting it. He's understanding that he needs to be efficient and not waste time. He needs to make plays that are determined. That is already big growth for such a very big streamer. Yes. Okay, so I hope that rundown of his mistakes as well as what he's doing well, and also the focus on how he's improving, and also the gameplay that showcases you what plat junglers can look like. I think he's looking a bit more like a plat low diamond jungle with some of the decision I'm seeing tonight, and that's really what it's all about. So jokes aside, I really do hope he learns and enjoys this process. Jungle is a fun position. I hope the rest of you Tyler1 fans and everyone learned a little bit about how to become a better jungler from this video. Please do like, share, and comment if you enjoyed and learned something. Let's see if we can hit the 1000 likes mark so that I can feel Alpha 2. Subscribe for more jungle videos coming very soon, and as always, I will see you all in the next tutorial and the weight room.